Welcome everyone to the first lecture in a series on the population question and development. Welcome to the speakers, first of all, who I'll briefly introduce in a minute. Welcome, President of Society for International Development, Jos van Gennep. I know that this is a theme which is close to your heart. I'm happy that this theme was brought up through SID and the World Population Foundation, who have jointly with ISS organized these lecture series. I'm happy that you brought up this theme. I'm happy that it was the three of us who could bring these lecture series together and started with such eminent speakers as we will have this afternoon. My name is Luc Box. I'm the rector of the Institute of Social Studies, an institute which prides itself in bringing a number of young professionals to the Netherlands to study questions exactly like the ones that we are going to discuss this afternoon. Why the importance? Well, it is 15 years after Cairo. And have we learned the lessons? Have our politicians and other politicians learned the lessons of Cairo? Or is the debate about population questions becoming essentially very meager, extreme, with extreme positions about population control, etc. The danger indeed exists that in developmental discussion, population is taken as a single issue. And if there is one thing that this series is going to explore, it is the complexity of the population issues, or the many issues associated with it. It is the complexity which we will discuss in the 6 different lectures that you will hopefully assist and which we will start today. If there was one thing that Cairo taught us, it is that the simple control measures that created so much havoc in the 1950s and 60s simply would not suffice anymore. A rights-based approach was called for to a comprehensive population policy, with attention to many different issues like gender, like mortality, migration, etc. We need to challenge the simplistic neo-Malthusian voices which use overpopulation in developing countries to explain poverty or to indeed explain environmental degradation or any other argument for that matter. We need to look at population in a wider context in relation to the greater issues, the greater nexuses, as like, for example, migration and the environment. And we need to demystify the family planning reputation as an interventionist tool of government, but rather we need to promote it as a set of policies and include education, training, and especially information to different groups. It is with these ideas that the organizers of this series bring us together to start the public debate again about these issues dealing with population. Because indeed, the danger is that if the public debate is not well informed, extremist positions are likely to take the fore. And it is in that spirit that we are very happy that today we have with us excuse me, Professor Tim Dyson from the London School of Economics in London, and Michel Garenne from the Pasteur Institute in Paris, who will discuss the first issue, the global demographic transition, the consequences and implications for development. If there's one thing that struck me in reading about Professor Dyson's work, it is that he refuses to be a single-issue man. As you will hear probably in his presentation this afternoon, he has a holistic approach. And if he convinces, it is because he places the population issues squarely, but always in the context of other issues as well. And therefore, we are particularly happy that he is with us today and that he is opening this series of lecture. And I would like to therefore give the floor to you, Professor Dyson.
Thank you very much. This is a big subject, and I can't possibly cover everything that I would want to, so I ask you to bear that in mind. I am working on the demographic transition, and I thought it was a good subject to pick also at the start of this lecture series, because most population issues or questions can be related to the demographic transition, the phenomena of the demographic transition. I happen to believe that the demographic transition is perhaps the most important single dimension of development that there is. And it's a phenomena which began here in the sense of in the countries of northwestern Europe. And to look at the beginning of this terribly important phenomena, we really have to go back to the 18th century. Although the phenomena began in this part of the world at about that time, it has subsequently gone on to affect all human populations everywhere to differing degrees. However, although some aspects of development deriving initially from the Enlightenment, if you like, have received a great deal of attention, I'm thinking in particular of the phenomena of modern economic growth as described by Simon Kuznets. The demographic transition is something about which not many people have much knowledge. Indeed, Michelle and I were talking earlier, there's only one book titled The Demographic Transition, and we both agree there should be at least 10. Okay, now, I hope this is all going to work, the machinery. No, it's not. Do I double click or? Yeah, you've done it. Yeah. You double click, did you?
Yes, you kind of go.
Okay. Yeah, can you go back?
Oops. Sorry, I'll go to the other thing. Sorry.
Okay.
Technical.
Okay, now if I double right click, Gordana, if I double right click. Can I double right click? That's the one I want, yeah. That's what I want now, the next one. Okay. Okay, thank you. That's great, okay. That'll work fine, I'm sure. Okay, so this is, he said, a stylized version of what I'm going to talk about. And I have to emphasize that it is a highly stylized version of the demographic transition. The demographic transition involves the movement of a society from circumstances of high and roughly equal death and birth rates to circumstances of low and roughly equal birth and death rates. So on the left-hand side of that diagram, I will try and use this. There we go. Yeah, there we go. There's the beginning of the transition there. I assume you can see. Yeah,